Recordings in progress. Uh, I'm getting so good at this. I'm speaking with my longtime friend, boss, coworker, comrade, Mr. Genndy Tartakovsky, and that, in fact, is how you pronounce it, isn't it, Genndy?
Yes, it is. Genndy Tartakovsky.
Genndy,
Yeah.
because I hear Gendy, I see it misspelled continuously, um, but
It's
that's
been everything.
it's a little bit of everything. I get that too. I mean, people never know how to spell my name. Gendy, I mean, I've known you. I mean, think I've been working for you for like 15, at least 15 years. Uh,
Uh, well, I mean, if you count the Dexter comics,
the
that's
Dexter comic. Yeah. In fact, I don't know. That was at least 20 years ago. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. And the Dexter comic is the thing that brought us together, essentially.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, yeah, basically I knew of you and I knew your work,
right.
but when you did it, I didn't know you were doing the Dexter comic, and then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, this is incredible."
Well, that's nice. That's nice to hear. Yeah, I was doing. Yeah, DC Comics was doing the Cartoon Network books at the time, and I knew the editor. Her name was Joan Hilty. There might have been a couple of other editors that I worked for there too, but I got the opportunity. She asked if I wanted to draw a couple of Dexter issues. My friend Robbie was writing them, and the first one I did was okay, but the next one, Noah's Dexter's Arc, I did feel like I drew the hell out of, and I'm glad. I'm glad it's to this date. I think it's still one of the best things I've ever drawn. And then that got your notice. So, and I've always felt like, comics somehow are a connection between you and I.
Yeah, I mean, I probably fell in love with animation and comics at the same time, I think.
Okay, well, so tell me. I mean, we don't have to go in depth with your history, but you came here to the United States from Russia when you were 7,
Yeah.
and you like Popeye apparently, because I've seen pictures of you dressed as a little sailor.
Yes.
And
Well,
Popeye's a sore point, but for us, so we don't have to talk.
we're not even 5 minutes in.
We're not even
You're
5 minutes. We're already on sore points. I know. But like, so how did you see comics do you remember comics before you were 7, before you came to the United States?
No, of course. In Russia, we there was nothing like it, or
Okay.
I didn't have any access to it. But there's no importing, exporting back then.
Right.
So we immigrated to America, like you said, and then when I went to a 7-Eleven with my brother, and the 7-Elevens used to have comic book racks,
Right. Yeah.
right? And then I saw it, and they had like a lot of the ones that were because I was watching like Super Friends at the time, right?
Okay.
And Batman, so I knew all of
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny now that I think back about it. Like, yeah, I had no awareness of Marvel or anything. It was just whatever's on TV, I know.
Sure.
And as a kid, that's like, how's that possible? Anyways,
Right.
uh, and then where was I at? Right. So then I saw Super Friends comic, and my brother and I decided to buy it. And that was
Okay.
the very first comic that I bought was the Super Friends, the comic based on the show.
Right. Ramona Fredone. That was a great book. I bought it continuously.
That's so funny that you know
And I'm
that.
older than you. So so
Anyways, that was my introduction, and then of course, I loved the comic, and I loved superheroes, and then I started collecting comics.
but so it sounds like you explored DC Comics first before you went on to Marvels. Is
It
that right?
was, it was. I don't even. It was such a short period of time because as soon as I got the Super Friends, I don't remember what I bought next, but it was. I started at the garage sales. Remember, people used to have garage sales,
Sure.
and there used to be like the 5 cent bin or 10 cent bin, and there'd be comics there. So
Right.
then I would have $1, and so I would buy 10 comics. And so I would buy whatever, like Marvel 2-in-1 and all that stuff. And then I started to find what I started to like.
Right.
And now we kind of go all the way to probably when was Burns Fantastic Four? Was that like 82?
I want to say it had to be early 80s.
Yeah, I was like 82, maybe I was 12 to 14, 84. And I started getting that was probably one of the first things that I obsessively bought. And that's at the time also where I realized I love comics for the art,
Okay.
right? The way John Byrne drew, Frank Miller, George Perez, Arthur Adams, Walt Simonson, that's my time period where I really got into it.
Right.
And Paul Smith, anyways. And so that was that's what I was collecting.
Right. 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 Okay. Um, yeah. So those were the artists that kind of hit you over the head that you were really impressed by. Did you know English by that point?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've already been here probably 5 to 7 years,
Oh,
depending
okay.
what we're talking about. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm totally fluent. I read, I write, everything.
Wow. I didn't know some of that. That's impressive. But do you feel like you picked up some language from comics? I always feel like I learned a lot of science and stuff from and famous quotes and stuff like that.
I agree 100%. I mean, I think I got better at reading and speaking from it. And then obviously I loved the writing, and so, but it's that type of melodramatic stuff, for the
Right.
most part. Some natural stuff, but usually it was a little more edgy.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I know that once Frank Miller started writing his stuff, like the Daredevil stuff, that was my favorite.
Right.
Obviously Dark Knight, but the Wolverine, not that we have to start right away talking favorites, but probably that Wolverine series might be my top favorite comic of all time.
The one that Frank drew,
Yeah,
that Chris Claremont wrote.
Chris Claremont
Okay.
wrote. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of the inker. Did it strike you? I want to draw these. Like I want to
Oh
draw
yeah.
comics.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I was I was trying to draw things, but I wasn't very good. And I feel like it's funny when I look back at my career and even as a kid, I loved being around people who could draw really well. And so in third grade, my best friend was this kid, Jung Park, this Korean kid, and he drew really well. Like
Okay.
all that, like that 60s, 70s anime stuff, especially Speed Racer. Like he knew how to draw that so well. And I was
Wow.
floored. Like I couldn't believe that I would be friends with some kid who could draw like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, and then even now, I try to surround myself with people who could draw amazing and I love their drawings. Um, anyway, so getting back to me drawing, so he drew so well and he also drew sometimes without even copying.
Okay.
All I was capable of was copying and poorly, like very poorly. Even my brother
Okay.
drew better than me, or we copied. So I would copy the Wolverine poses and whatever else, but it was terrible, really bad.
Well, we're
Yeah,
all
I
terrible
wouldn't
when
dare. No, but
we're
it. I think because I had an older brother, I lost all confidence that I could do it.
okay. You picked it up somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
he stopped, and
Yeah.
I was obsessed. I was obsessed with it. You
Okay.
know.
Got it. Do you still have like hardcovers and comics around?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I probably have. I probably picked all my favorites, and they're in my garage.
Right. Okay. And so when did like how did like animation come in? Like how did like comics were comics like put aside and animation became sort of the thing, or was it
Well,
just kind of a gradual thing where you sort of went to animation but love both?
no, I mean, like, I think I was very realistic, and that I could never have a career in comics because I went to a comic book convention. I was probably around 14. And it was also at the same time I was falling in love with animation, like
Okay.
hardcore. But I went to the convention, then actually John Byrne was there.
Okay.
He lived locally actually. And so that it even wowed me more. Like I could be him.
Yeah.
And uh and so he was sitting and drawing stuff for people. And he had a mechanical pencil. Like I'll never forget. Everything is like picture perfect in my head.
Okay.
Uh, and I was lurking. I was way too scared to come up to him or anything. So I was just standing behind people, and I stood there for at least maybe 3 hours watching him
Wow.
draw.
Holy shit. There were
Yeah.
probably other people to watch, but you really wanted to watch John Byrne.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was doing my favorite comics,
Okay.
right? So now to see him personally do it, and I think at that moment I decided I don't know if I could ever be that good. It was some weird kid thought
Yeah, these
that,
yeah,
and I gave up. Like I never really dreamed it because animation did take over,
right.
but for a minute it definitely would have scratched a similar itch. And and at that moment I decided like, yeah, I don't think I could ever be good enough to work and get paid for doing this. It would be too much
Okay.
of a struggle. I couldn't do it. And I was right. And I went and
Well, why was animation easier in your head? Do you think? Because animation to me always seems like, I mean, there's a reason why I'm not an animator. It's because it's like it's too hard to me, you know?
Yeah.
I just assume just design things or, back in the day, storyboard because that storyboard is comics and I knew how to do comics and designing is just drawing. So what like how in your head did you figure out like animation was an easier thing for you?
It wasn't so much that it was easier, it was the drawing. You didn't have to be so proficient in drawing,
Okay.
especially like realistic characters, muscles and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I would draw cartoony things,
yeah.
still poorly, but you know, a badly drawn Scooby-Doo is not as bad as a badly drawn Wolverine. You know what I mean? Compared,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so I still retained the confidence, and I did like it. I didn't feel like I was settling,
yeah.
right? And so, yeah, and so that's the way I got into animation. I loved it, and I kept going. Right, and animation's not as hard because creating movement, it's all rough and it's all energy and feeling, and you're doing it, and it's not that. I think it's that pressure of one drawing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
I mean, I
it's
get what you
forever.
mean. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's like yeah, and I guess I've seen not speaking about you for sure, but I have seen some animators' drawings and some are like, Glenn Keane and they're
Yeah,
beautiful drawings. And then some are like that's not that great a drawing, but it doesn't have to be that great a drawing. It has to like move.
yeah.
So I guess I know what you're talking about, but still it's like
But most
anybody.
animators, but Steven, not to get it straight, you have to draw an animation,
Right. Yeah.
right? But I didn't have to be a Glenn Keane. There's a far in between of animators, right?
Right. 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 Right.
And but yeah, definitely if you could draw at that level and then you understand animation and movement, then you're king
Right.
for sure. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then how did you but you clearly stayed interested in story and stuff like that because you boarded and stuff. You still board, you still storyboard. Um so clearly something was happening for you that like you still wanted to tell the story. You didn't want to just and make up the story. You didn't just want to like animate a character.
Yeah, well, funny enough, I did. Like initially, I never thought about story or being a director. Those were never my dreams.
Really?
My
Okay.
my dream was to be an animator, like a
Okay.
veteran animator, Disney, Warner Brothers, whatever studio, right? I wasn't fan of the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
I would have done it because it's animation, right? And
Yeah.
anyways, and I always still read comic books, and so I was still completely involved in that.
Okay.
And then when I got to Cal Arts, that's when I started to do story,
Hmm.
right? We do our films, and then I had to storyboard,
Right.
right? And I think I understood it because probably from comic books,
Yeah.
right? And I was very analytical when I watched movies and shows, and I tried to figure out how it all works.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is interesting. They're so linked, film and comics. But when you storyboard, and this is something that has occurred to me about my storyboarding is that I board like a comic book artist because I just kind of want to draw and I want to draw funny, but everything is like I don't think of filmically, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think in terms of cinema, and that's what it is. I mean,
Right.
that's why I don't board anymore. But you know, they're linked, but they're not the same thing. And so you clearly had, you know, a cinematic eye for what had to happen.
But yeah, but when you look at your comics though, they're cinematic. That's the funny part. It's funny
You
that it
see,
doesn't.
it's funny. I mean, yeah, I don't feel like that. You know, they move. I mean, that's storytelling. It's a similar thing. That's why they're linked. But I just don't think of them as, you know, cinematic in by any means.
Well, they are. But yeah, but that's the link. The for sure the link is there. And then when I started to do storyboards, I really liked it. You know, and then by the
Yeah.
time I got to do my own, and because I did storyboards on Two Stupid Dogs,
Oh yeah.
and the guy in charge of the show hated my boards.
Oh, okay.
Really hated him. It was, it was me and Rob and Paul Rudish and Craig McCracken and I was like the worst. And I felt so like such a loser because he would always pick on my boards. And and
How,
so I
wait, you were the worst to him.
yeah, the worst to him,
What did
but
Rudish and McCracken think of them? Your boards? Did they
they
like,
liked
yeah,
him.
that guy stinks.
No, they liked him. I mean, they told
See?
they didn't say they didn't like him. They laughed.
Okay.
Mine and so, but the funny part is the what I was trying to do was the early version of what I do now.
Uh-huh. Which
Melodrama,
was
especially what I did in Dexter.
okay.
I was trying to do cinematic angles, melodrama. I was trying to be very cinematic, and he took it all out. Every gag that I did based on like juxtaposition of cinema and drama and comedy, he took all of it out. It was just like one
Okay.
liner, right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe he's right. I don't know. And then when the Dexter's Lab opportunity came along to do a pilot, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna do this board the way exactly I want to do it, and with all the stuff that he always took out.
Right.
When you got to think about it, if you keep doing work, but it never sees the screen, right? Because it keeps getting changed,
Yeah.
you have no you have no way to tell if your stuff works.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so I decided that's it. I'm gonna do Dexter. I'm gonna put everything that's always been edited out,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And and then I did it, and then obviously it launched everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. 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 I mean, you know, to this day, your stuff is really, really uh cinematic. It's filmic, and you know that's what's exciting about it. And you know what to show and what not to show, and that's key to cinema. What do you remember about movies? Like what was the first movie that struck you when you were little?
Like live action.
Yeah.
I loved. I mean, the probably the first one was the Clint Eastwood, like Fistful of Dollars,
Okay. Wow.
because I
When you
saw
were
it.
like seven?
Yeah, when I was immigrating,
Wow. Okay.
when we were immigrating from Russia, you had to go to Italy first and stay there for like 3 months until they let you into the country.
Okay.
And so we were staying, living in like five families to an apartment or something, living
Okay.
in. And my dad took us to go see a movie, and it was in Italy, Fistful of Dollars.
Okay. And I'm assuming not translated into English or anything.
No, in Italian.
Right. It was Italian.
But that was probably my first memory of a movie I've ever seen.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's yeah, because my first experience with a movie going to the movies was it was either Pinocchio or Peter Pan. So that's kind of a different
Oh,
sensibility.
animation was first. Right. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you know, I
We were
mean,
kids.
it's a similar thing because you're seeing something that's so large and overwhelming, particularly if you're little, that it's overpowering, which is fantastic. But you know, Peter Pan to Fistful of Dollars is kind of a different sensibility. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like, you know, you were always going to have that you know, the Sergio Leone music in your head.
Yeah. It just maybe we just figured it out. It was all implanted in that first movie.
I I think so, but that's good. You
Imagine
know,
if they had a imagine if they had a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and then they had the and then they had the movie, and that was my whole influence, all as a 7-year-old for the first time
that
in
makes
Italian.
sense. I can totally see that. That'd be
Start telling that story.
right. What and then what how to and what else built upon that? Like what were your next loves in film? I know you guys are the hardcore Star Wars fans.
I was never as big as like Paul or Craig. Like
Yeah,
I liked it, but I never like as a kid I bought action figures, but after that was it.
right.
Um
Me too. I don't buy action figures at all anymore.
as the little one is behind you.
No, that's a gift from ex-girlfriend. That's not a thing. Um,
But
so was that like that was an explosion of like, oh wow, there's movies. Yeah, there were no movies. There's Russian movies. They didn't show you like those fairy tales and stuff.
I don't remember ever going to a movie.
Okay.
I mean, I lived till 6, so I don't know if that's too young or not, or maybe I just don't remember it. I should
Okay.
ask my brother if we ever get, I'll do some research.
Okay.
We'll
Let
have an
us
update.
okay. Let us know. That'd be
Uh,
good.
yeah, and then, we were growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, so then it was the blockbuster,
Right.
Jaws, Star Wars,
Right.
right? Star Wars came out the year that I came to America.
Okay. All right.
So I don't remember at what point I saw it, but
Right. Okay. And
interesting.
did that kind of inform you too that you wanted to make something with film?
Star Wars?
No, well, I mean, just seeing movies back at that age, it was like because to me it
Yeah,
was always it's like comics is a trick that if you can draw you can do, but to make a movie seemed completely outside of anything I thought was I was capable of. It just seems so large. Did it speak to you that you might want to direct, even if you didn't know what that was?
yeah. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, and I love the way I feel watching the movie, different movies, and how they made me feel. So I loved that I was moved, and I had, and you had an experience and a vibe,
Yeah,
like a tonal vibe, which we don't have a lot nowadays because everything's, either by committee or by formula.
yeah.
But you see, especially in the 70s, right? That's all it, all the movies were raw.
Yeah.
Even like I remember seeing Enter the Dragon, at my local theater.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
you come out and you're like punching like Bruce Lee. It's so imprinted on you.
Yeah.
And but the movie's just a movie. There's nothing incredible about it.
Yeah.
But it had a vibe, and then you obviously love Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. But so I think I never thought about being a director, a live action director.
Hmm.
All these things are unrealistic. There's no internet. You can't look up how do I become a director.
Right.
We're in Chicago, so there's no connection. Later, I started going to independent film festivals and getting into the film community a little bit.
Okay.
But the big thing was that we grew up with not a lot of money,
Uh-huh.
right? So my dad struggled, my mom struggled, and so everything was a struggle. And I think as a kid, I'm like, when I get older, I don't want to struggle,
Right.
because like I had a $500 car when I was 16, right?
Okay.
Obviously, it broke down all the time, and you have to fix it yourself, or you just hope it's something small.
Yeah.
And during the winters, I would go downstairs. I was going to high school, and every time I got in my car, it was 50-50 if it was going to start.
Okay.
Right. And so there's that. What the point I'm getting to is there's this sinking feeling of like, oh shit, how shitty a day am I gonna have?
Right. 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 Yeah.
I connected that to money because if I
Right.
had money, I would have a nice car, a decent car, and so, anyways, so the point is that that whatever career I picked, I wanted it to be successful, have
Right.
money,
Yeah.
right? So I couldn't be an artist, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to money and art don't always.
Without a clear path of how do you make it, do you get a job? But being like, I got into fine painting, fine art for a little while.
Did you? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Because one of my art teachers in Chicago was a painter, and
Okay.
it was, he taught at college, and then he had art shows, and I became his assistant for a little bit, and he had a loft, in downtown, and it was always like everybody wore black turtlenecks,
Right.
it was the scene, and so I got into that scene for a second, and then I couldn't stomach it. It was a little too much phony baloney, too early for me, too mad.
Okay. Got it. Well, so like, but going to art school, that's pretty risky, isn't it?
At that point, animation had an explosion, right?
What
So
year are we
now
talking?
88,
Okay.
right? Roger Rabbit, Little Mermaid,
Right.
who Roger Rabbit, Little Mermaid, Land Before, not Land Before, American Tail.
Okay. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden, every movie was a huge success.
Right. And you got your DuckTales, you got your as things were happening on TV. I just remember,
It started, yeah. I mean, it was really Mighty Mouse.
Right.
That's that's what really changed everything. It's like, wow,
Right.
look, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying DuckTales was great. Some people you talk to, they think it is,
I
but
don't know what people are thinking, but yeah,
right. But yeah, but that felt like suddenly I realized like, oh, they're making animation again. Like, I didn't understand why it felt so flat and stiff, but it was like, oh, they're actually, and then The Simpsons hit, and then, yeah,
right.
and then Mighty Mouse. Suddenly it felt like, oh, this is a thing again, as
Yeah.
opposed to Saturday morning.
And because of the success of animation, all of a sudden being an animator was a job.
Right.
And at something at school, there was an animator there, and they asked, "Well, how much can an animator make?" Right? And he goes, "Well, like Glenn Keane makes $100,000 a year."
Right. It's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, 88, I don't know if that's true or not or whatever, or how would that, whatever is that.
Right.
And so, bling, it could be a career for me. And boy, would I be happy.
Okay. And that took you to Cal Arts?
Yes.
Okay. What were you doing before? Did you graduated right from high school and went into Cal Arts?
No, I did 2 years at Columbia College in Chicago.
Okay, and that was in the
Right.
arts as well?
And I did film, it was a film video major, but with a minor in animation, basically, because there's no,
Okay. I see. I never knew that.
yeah.
Because I knew that there was a little period before you went to Cal Arts.
Right.
Did you feel like you were still taking comics with you? Meaning like were you still thinking in terms of comics, what you were liking, what you might want to do with them someday?
No, I mean, I probably stopped collecting, and I want to say because that was I might be a little off, but when Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane,
McFarlane.
and when that movement came, I like Todd's Spider-Man. I still hung on for those.
Hmm.
Then everything got veiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And when things got veiny and noodly and airbrushy, I didn't like it. And so I stopped collecting.
Yeah. I mean, from everybody that I know, and it was nearly everybody when I lived in LA, everybody was from Cal Arts, except a very few. I don't ever get any sense that there was a love for comics there. Everything was film, animation, or Star Wars. And that seemed to be the three things that those guys wanted to talk about. And there didn't seem to be any crossover. They didn't seem to know. Like Don Shank didn't seem to know comics that much. Did you know comics people? Was there anybody that was interested in comics?
No,
No.
you're right. No. I mean, I guess it wasn't in the conversation, so I never really brought it up. Like Craig and I talked about it a little bit.
Really? What did
Craig
Craig
was
like?
more, he really, I mean, he liked the art. He knew, did he know Kirby? but he liked humor comics and comic strips,
Okay.
right? And we
Right.
were all obviously we're huge Calvin and Hobbes fans.
Right.
But yes, we really didn't talk heroes.
Right. Okay. Well, so you mentioned a name. Let's touch on that. So most of the names that you've mentioned so far were pretty contemporary to drawing back then, but I know that you have a deep love for Kirby. How did you discover that stuff? And how did it impact you? Like seeing, seeing there's a connection between Frank Miller and Kirby, but it's not
Yeah.
necessarily obvious, you know? Like how did you discover Jack?
I had a weird thing with him because when I started, I didn't get old stuff. I was buying the I wasn't getting the old stuff because I think his were a little more expensive.
Okay.
But if you're getting stuff by they're like the in-between artists. Like you have like who came before John Byrne on Fantastic Four? Like Jerry Milgrom or somebody, like they have a career, and I don't want to shit them because it's still amazing art.
No, 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 I know.
But it
Yeah.
was it was the art just didn't speak to me. And so you can buy those comics. But then if you keep going back, then all of a sudden you get to Jack Kirby. And now
Right.
those issues are expensive.
Right.
So I didn't know about his stuff too much.
Okay.
I've seen it, but because Byrne and Miller and Simonson, those guys were my
Right.
favorite, right? And
Right.
Paul Smith, like those four.
Right.
That's very different than Kirby. And I wasn't smart enough to know Kirby and Frank Miller stuff or in all of their stuff, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So the stylization, funny enough, of Kirby, I was not interested in,
Yep. Yeah.
right? Which was crazy.
No, 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 but that's normal. That's kind of normal. I mean, for people our age, I think for people for like my brother's age who were buying the Fantastic Four at in the moment, at the time, it seemed like John Byrne. But, by the 70s, it seemed like this guy's why are all the fingers square, you know?
Right, right.
And it's one of those things where, it's so impactful. I mean, some of my friends and I have a joke. It's like we bought Kirby religiously, but we didn't necessarily like it. But there was something so compelling about it that
Yeah,
you had to buy it. And then you realize, like, oh, this guy's a fucking genius.
yeah.
Um,
And then, and so then I discovered I had enough money to buy some of the Fantastic Fours.
okay, like the not reprints.
Right, not reprints, the originals.
Okay, okay,
And and then I was like, wow, it was amazing. And maybe
it
because
hit you, yeah.
yeah, it was like this is crazy, And then I bought everything that I could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's kind of inevitable if you like Simonson and if you like John Byrne, you do have to like sort of go back in time and see like, oh, where does this come from? And then you realize like
Right.
that's where it comes from. I mean, and those are those are great examples of people that d develop their own style for sure, but it's highly informed. What do you feel? Because I've worked on top of your stuff a lot over the years, and I can feel the Kirby in there. What do you feel? How do you feel like Jack influenced you?
I mean, the dynamics,
Yeah,
the poses, like the one of the great things about him is nobody ever stands just standing.
yeah,
There's always a mood to the standing, and or a pose or a drama to it.
yeah. There's a
And
lot
so
of drama. That's true.
yeah,
It's funny though, the one thing that maybe it's me, I don't know, that strikes me about working over your work, and just to explain for anybody that doesn't know about the way we work, I generally I'm a character designer for you, and I'll get a lot of poses from you, or from a storyboard. Generally, they're your storyboards that I need to interpret as a pose, as a final drawing for the film. And and I recognize when you're doing a kind of a Kirby, and it's funny, maybe it's my interpretation, but there's so much weight implied in what you draw, and weight is integral to Kirby. I mean, you have to know. I mean, if you're gonna have like legs akimbo, you have to know where the weight's gonna land in each leg. And it seems to me your characters are never necessarily walking on air, you know? They seem
Yeah.
firmly planted, or when they're leaping through the air, they have, I know where the weight is. That seems implied in your drawings. Does that ring any bells, or you just think I'm talking bullshit?
I'm very critical of my drawings, and I feel like they lack a solidity and weight, actually, like your drawings, when you feel the character is weighted, Paul Rudish's drawings, even though he draws like a waif, it's still there's such a solidity and weight to it. And so I found that I sometimes I don't see it. Sometimes I'll see it, but a lot of times I don't feel it. But I'm looking at it much harshly.
Yeah, this makes me want to ask, did you ever try to teach yourself? I feel like what you're talking about is line for some reason and not weight. Not because the structure of your drawings feel like they have weight to me. It's just maybe the lines are not indicating it necessarily. Did you ever try to teach yourself to ink? I mean,
It
you can
was
laugh, but I know it's there. I can see it.
hard. It was too hard, Steve.
To ink, yeah. Inking is hard. Inking's really, really hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even
I'm just
now,
curious.
yeah, even now I mess around with it. Like in my sketchbook, I'm like, oh, that's a nice pencil drawing. Let me try to put a line on it. And I imagine that I'm you, honestly. And I'm trying to put a Steven line on it, and it's impossible.
And you're thinking about what you're going to eat next, and yeah, yeah, I know what that's like. I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inking is really, really hard, but I mean, the only way you learn is if you suck for a really long time. So,
Yeah, I believe in that, and it's just not it's not a priority I can afford right now, basically.
sure. Yeah, I mean, and you don't need to. It's not necessary. But the only reason why I bring it up is because I see the inherent weight in your drawings when you draw a character in movement or not in movement. That it's definitely there. Or maybe that's just what I'm seeing, and I'll try and bring it out for sure. But I see it. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's just so many things about what uh oh shit. I'm brain
I
farting. I know
like
there's
the
what
comics gave me they also gave me staging a lot too. Like you can easily see cinema,
yeah,
but comics did become the way they told the stories.
yeah.
And I think this is definitely a lot more Frank Miller.
Uh-huh.
He started really to come into his own in the Daredevil stuff.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
I It was like a movie, and it was so incredible. Like that one comic about the kid who ended up in the hospital, and I think Daredevil's playing like Russian roulette with a gun in the room. I don't know if you remember those.
Isn't that I thought that was not a kid. I know what you're talking about, but I thought that was
Oh,
Bullseye.
the story was about a kid, but the man was in the hospital, right?
It was Bullseye, yeah. He's
Yeah.
playing Russian roulette, yeah.
Uh, and then and so the way Frank Miller used to do some of these things were like, and it's definitely Eisner
Eisner, yeah. Those
inspired, but
guys.
I never looked at Eisner comics, so I never knew. So I thought this was so original. But he would have the three panels, and it was just like all white and a down shot on Daredevil sitting with a chair and the gun, and like three panels for a light shape.
Yeah.
And so everything he became very minimal,
Yeah.
right? Very graphic. And that huge influence on my storyboarding, the way I think. Probably the Frank Miller art is probably more or equal to a Leone movie
And as an influence?
as an influence.
Okay. I
You
get
know
you.
that it really affected, and maybe it's the way I read the comic. Like maybe I read it as a movie or a show.
Right.
Because it all kind of flowed, and then it became it really impactful.
Yeah. I mean, that's the crossover. I mean, I don't know what Miller was seeing, but it was a visual story and it translated itself to you and it can translate as cinema. It's pretty amazing. I've always wondered, did you like get into samurai movies? Because is that, I mean, I know where Jack kind of came from, but a lot of your cutting and stuff feels like, Kurosawa influenced. Did you get into that stuff?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I
Oh,
watched every kung fu movie in the 70s, right?
okay.
As a fan.
Okay.
There was reruns. We didn't have cable, right? So it's constant reruns.
Yeah.
I saw every single movie I saw. And I like that, probably they didn't show a lot of the good ones like Kurosawa and all that stuff. I saw that later.
Yeah.
More like a teen when I started going to the independent movies. And like none of my friends were gonna go with me, so basically I would go on my own, or I think I had one guy who suffered through it.
Okay.
And then we would see, Ron or something like that. Uh,
Okay.
and it definitely affected me, but not as much as you would think till later when I really started to dissect it as a as a
Sure.
as a film student. And yeah, I mean Jack is a big bowl of every single influence in
Yeah.
one. But yeah, the short answer is yes, I've seen pretty much every single samurai movie that's old.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, just because the way, Jack is told, it feels like, this is someone who's dissected and digested,
Yeah.
um, a lot of samurai cinema, which is pretty great. Did you work on every character that you ever wanted? Was there a character that you like, oh fuck, I really gotta draw? Like I'm talking like when you were a kid. I really gotta draw Batman because that would be like the best. I mean, I know people who are like feel like their life's not fulfilled because they never actually drew. They've drawn Superman, but they've never drawn a Superman comic book. Did you have like, I gotta draw, I gotta
No,
draw a
no,
run on Batman. I gotta draw a run on Spider-Man.
no,
You don't give a shit.
no.
That wasn't a thing. Okay.
Was not a thing.
Okay. Were you always thinking in terms of your own characters?
I mean, my dream was certainly, I mean, not, because I'm trying to think. No, I never like, oh my God, I gotta draw Mickey Mouse. Like I have to work and animate a Mickey Mouse.
Right.
I didn't, there was nothing out there. I mean, I wanted to work on Ren and Stimpy. That's probably one of the biggest, like, oh, I wish I could do that. Really, it spoke to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I never
Yeah.
had that push.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I,
Ren and Stimpy you would have been, maturing by that point. Whereas like, Superman is like a 7-year-old cry for help or something. You desperately need to do this. You never had a character like that. I
no,
know that Daredevil is special to your heart.
I do like it. Yes.
Yeah. And I think, I've seen some of your Daredevil drawings. Uh you clearly know the stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like that was the fun part about doing Cage,
Yeah.
right? Is okay, Gendy, do whatever you want,
Yeah.
and with a character, with our character. And
Did
so
they
like
I don't even know. Did they come to you like, why don't you do something with Cage? Or did you actually choose Cage?
they said, why don't you do a comic? And I said, yeah, I'll do Captain America or Daredevil. That sounds fun to me. And they're like, no, 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 like you can't have that. So then we kept going down the list, and I go, well, I like Power Man, Luke Cage and Power Man. I mean, Power Man and Iron Fist. And they're like, yeah, you could do Luke Cage. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Because that was legit. I mean, I was a fan of that comic. And so that felt like a big win. It was a get, you know.
Right.
Uh, and so now I get to actually do it. And it's not like I doodle around. Like, like Bruce Timm always draws comics, right?
Yeah.
Like always scribbling. So
Yeah.
he's got his version worked out.
Right.
And so now I get Cage, and I was like, oh, how am I gonna draw him? Like, am I gonna try to do real, like, and actually try to do it like a real comic, or do I just do me and whatever comes out comes out?
Right.
And like my first my first drawings are like, well, how am I gonna do George Tuska or or something like that,
Wow.
or and then because I didn't like the way John Byrne drew him. Actually, it was too human. Like I wanted a little more hero.
Right. It's too pretty
Yeah,
somehow. It's
somehow.
like, yeah, like Cage has to be like
Yeah,
massive and brutish, but in a cool, I'm wearing a
and
tiara way.
and I didn't want to do just like a cool streamlined because then you're doing Bruce, and I can't do that, right?
Right.
And I wouldn't want to do that because he's so good at it. And then I'm like, well, let me try to just doodle and how I would do a page and do a pose of Cage. And then I started to exaggerate, so it's like Kirby with mixed in with Harvey Kurtzman.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I loved Harvey Kurtzman posing. I love Jack Kirby posing. And then now let me try to draw this human the way I draw and however it comes out. And and then it started to come out. And then the style started to develop. And I loved sometimes the juxtaposition of something more realistic, and then it's like a pose out of Mad Magazine,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it had that energy, you know.
Yeah.
It's right here.
What
Yeah.
There it is. Uh it's it's a beloved book. I can say that. You and I have been posting pages from it on social media, and it gets a huge reaction every time we post.
Does it? Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, particularly a couple weeks ago, I told you, like I posted a X-Men image.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot the X-Men were in it, to be honest.
yeah.
And I'm not sure why the X-Men are in it, but it's like it's people went bananas for it. I mean, I guess X-Men will do that, but it's a pretty cool page. So yeah, people really love that book. I mean, beyond like getting a number of hits or whatever, people actually write a comment and say like, I
I
love
do
that
like
book. Now I have to go read it again.
like this page.
Yeah,
Like I thought, like that was it, because it's got a lot of Harvey Kurtzman Mad Magazine posing, and
right,
then and then it's on a muscular guy, and then I'm doing really pushed stuff here,
right.
right? And a lot of another guy, Mark Hempel.
Yeah,
I really liked his stuff, The Breathtaker.
yeah. Breathtaker was a beautiful book.
So and then Tug and Max.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, you're busting out names I hadn't thought of in a long time.
When
That
that comic that was doing what I think I was doing.
okay. I didn't know that actually. I can see it, but yeah, when I was inking it, I was somewhere between Terry Austin and Kurtzman all the time. Because I know, I mean, that's the thing. That's why I wanted to speak to you. I mean, because obviously, our connection starts with the Dexter comic. But I think part of the reason why, I mean, we've worked together so often is because I know your references, I mean, I know when you're, oh, that's the Micronauts,
Right,
that's
right.
Michael Golden, I mean, I know that you know comics, and I know that the comics that you know, and I always feel like that's a thing that connects us in terms of drawing. Yeah, and that's a good thing for me because, I know what you need, but I didn't know you were channeling Mark Hempel for sure.
Yeah. If you look at some of his, that superhero, the Man in Breathtaker,
It's
there's
been a
this,
long time.
anyways, there's this hero character in a suit called the Man, and he was all like kind of buff. And the way he stylized him, it was like, oh yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Because it was more pushed than Bruce, like normal Bruce.
Right.
And it had its own vibe, but he was doing the same thing,
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me push that like that. And then, my stuff's naturally more cartoony.
Right.
So it started to develop. And then when I
Yeah.
started to get some drawings that I liked, then I just stopped thinking about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I didn't need to know it was you were doing Hempel, but I can certainly see it now. What Cage were you reading? I'm just curious. What Luke Cage were you reading when you were a kid?
I was reading the Power Man and Iron Fist.
Okay, okay. So none of the earlier stuff like with George Custer or Billy Graham
I'm
or
sure I had a couple of issues I picked up. I remember,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah, like, and then I was doing a lot of Master of Kung Fu. I like Mike Zack. He was in the,
Hmm.
Ron Wilson, uh, Jackson guys or Butch guys. The one from
Both.
Nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like stuff a lot. Michael Goldman, of course. So I mean, so that's like, you know, because you're older, but we're in a similar
We're
zone.
similar age, yeah.
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 It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
But
Right.
there is a very comfortable language that you do. Yeah, you like. Plus, you know all the cartoon stuff too.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the so we're both similar that way. Where I mean, you have more of the black and white reference stuff. You know, I don't do a lot of the old the old comic strips. Probably Hagar is as old I go.
Hagar, wow. You're how fucking old are you? Jesus, old man. Hagar the Horrible. Holy shit. Yeah, I do like the daily strips, but I know that's not everybody's thing. So that's okay. But yeah. No, it's always, it's always cool to hear you talk about this stuff. Um but you did you read any DCs other than Super Friends?
Say what?
Did you read any DC comics other than Super Friends?
Yeah, I would like the and again I gravitate if I like the art.
Right.
So I did Teen Titans, George Perez,
Okay.
right? I
That's a
like a lot
good.
of I like those.
Oh, right. I think we've talked about this because Melinda
Right.
has the Starfire hair.
Does she? Yeah, I guess kind of
Or it's also the Phoenix.
yeah,
It's the Jean Grey hair as well. The flame trail of hair.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, DC. So yeah, George Perez. I
Yeah.
remember liking Legion of Superheroes, which I think he.
Keith Giffen?
Oh yeah, Keith Griffin. Yep, yep, yep.
Keith Giffen, yeah.
Oh, I loved Camelot 3000.
That
Brian
was a
Gold.
good book. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I liked his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that book I really liked.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you get into Watchmen?
no,
Really?
I never read it till contemporary times.
Okay. Visually, it didn't interest you?
Yeah, it was kind of really real, like everybody was kind of standing around. I
Yeah.
didn't see how good it was. And so that was also probably the time, was that before Dark Knight or after?
It was sort of I mean,
Or
it's sort of a
close.
similar time. I don't know which came first, but it was definitely a similar time. What did you think of Dark Knight?
Oh my, I mean, it was incredible. It was
Do you
incredible.
think that's what's
I mean,
do you
Dark
think that's
Knight
better
alone,
than Daredevil?
I mean, it was so good, but it's very similar, but I just like the personality that he put into the drama and the angst that he put into Daredevil was amazing. You know, and then the
Yeah.
whole Elektra thing and that issue when Bullseye killed her, that was
Yeah.
one of the most incredible things to read.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it
Yeah.
like and what's a great experience that comics were, right? Because they came out once a week and you know the day it comes out and the
Right.
story, just think about it. Like it's pretty amazing. The story is so compelling that I had to make sure that I'm the first chance that I get after school, go and pick up the next issue to see what happens.
Right.
You know, like when was the last time you followed a comic that intently? You know, you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And maybe, maybe every person that's watching this is like, duh. Yeah, of course, but just it's such a feat. It's just like, tuning in. And so we had that experience of really wanting and not being able to get it.
Yeah.
And you're so excited. And especially that run is the one that, floored me the most. And
Yeah.
and it was so much fun, right? You're so excited to get to the store.
Yeah. I mean, it was a thrilling read too.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, the story wasn't fun necessarily, but the journey with it was fun. Just to see what Frank was doing back then. And I feel like, his Daredevil, it has more air than Dark Knight. Dark Knight feels very, very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And then his style started morphing a bit, and he started getting into smaller panels rather than laying out his page in a varied way.
More like very thin line style,
Thin
thing.
line style.
Started to get noodly, and I mean Ronan was still great. I
Yeah,
appreciate. I could see. I could see the craft in it, obviously, even though I preferred his Wolverine Daredevil style.
right,
But certainly Dark Knight, like the everything with the mutants, those
right.
kids, well, everything with the kids and the mud pits and the way he wrote their dialogue and the fight in the mud, you know, Batman on a horse, like all that shit's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, uh, uh, my brain's not working tonight. I didn't take my vitamins. I might need an adult beverage or something. It's too bad this is a family type show. Um, well, tell me about, so you draw all the time though.
Yes.
See, I don't draw all the I don't draw all the time. But you're always drawing. You got sketchbooks going. I mean, you could draw digitally, but you don't. You like actually work in sketchbooks.
And this is a new thing that I always keep sketchbooks and but usually it's like, 5 months and then I need a new one until I fill it up. And then a few months ago, it's very recent, I started drawing in a sketchbook and I was like, oh, forgot how nice this feels to draw on paper,
Right.
and so I started doodling and doodling more and more, and I started to really, really enjoy it. And like the last sketchbook I filled up like in 3 weeks or something, which for me is a lot because and that's not 3 weeks of boarding in the sketchbook,
Right.
like just drawing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've
Uh,
seen it. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think because I feel like I got a little better. You know what I mean? And so the drawings are coming. It's closer. What I'm drawing is a lot closer in my head than it was 6 months ago. There's a noticeable leap that something happened, and I'm picturing what I'm drawing, and I'm actually drawing it. I know this sounds ridiculous, but for me,
No, no, I'm just thinking, yeah. Do you feel like drawing on paper, so are you saying like drawing on paper is making you a better artist? It's getting you more in touch with the craft of drawing?
I'm having fun drawing on paper because the drawings are actually coming out, and I don't need the undo button every time.
Right.
Do it right. There's such a quick corrective form to drawing in the computer
Yeah, yeah.
that you can't, and you kind of got to, you can erase, but that's a pain in the pain in the ass.
It's a
And
pain in the ass. Yeah,
you start a new drawing, and
yeah,
anyways, but there's just a click between my brain and my hand that just happened a couple months ago, and so drawing in a sketchbook is fun,
yeah.
and so that's what I've been doing.
Right. That's neat. I do remember, there was some point on Titan, Symbionic Titan, where and I was character designer on that, and my computer went belly up for a minute. Um, and I had to draw on paper, which was really weird because I've been drawing it mostly on my Cintiq and Photoshop. And I noticed that my drawings felt more solid, which
Mm.
was a very strange experience. And I realized, like, perhaps even though we don't think it, or I hadn't thought it, that, maybe, the computer really was changing my drawings. Maybe, Maybe the lack of the tactile, feeling of the paper was screwing with me because I remember I had to draw these characters and they looked more solid to me. I don't know what that is.
I think that's definitely a thing that I know that happens is because the feel is slippery. I have a different rhythm and approach to drawing on the computer versus on paper.
Yeah.
And like I haven't drawn on my computer for a while and just drawn on paper. Like
Uh,
like hardcore, like 2, 3 hours straight. And this week I was doing it because I was just boarding morning till night. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, what am I doing? Like, oh, I can't feel it. I can't feel nothing. It's
yeah.
very frustrating. And then I finally had to settle in, like, oh, right, no, 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 you don't draw like this on here. Plus I'm like this, where in the sketchbook I'm looking down.
Right.
And then I started drawing, and then finally I got my rhythm back. So now I'm
That's
good.
good. Yeah, I've started drawing on paper again recently. I actually inked something with a brush and a pen recently. It was really hair-raising. I'd forgotten like you can't there's so much concentration that you have to put in it, and it's also kind of a Zen thing. You can't be tight about it. You can't and you can't hit Command Z,
Right. That's the big one, right?
which is the scariest part. Yeah, that's really fucked up. But it's thrilling. I mean, and I really admire that. That's cool, Gendy, because I put like maybe I don't know 5 hours into it. I'm sure you've put like 5 weeks into my 5 hours. Because that's a Gendy thing. Is there comics that do you see comics that you'd still like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a romantic way, I would love to do a series and tell a story. Like if I come up with a story and draw the issues and everything, that still sounds really fun, right? Whether it's
It sounds
original
fun.
or Captain America or whatever,
Right,
I would like that. Um, I just with everything else going on, I don't know if I can do it, or if I'm going to do it, it'll take a long time.
right.
Yeah, it's something I would want to do for sure.
Okay. Okay. But nothing specific in your head.
Nothing that I want to share.
Right. Okay. Got it. And tell us about, well, before, I mean, I've had you for a while, so I'll let you go, but tell us, I'm so fascinated. You said this to me a long time ago. When I figured out like what your schedule was like, I
Uh,
was like, how are you doing that? Because Gendy has the strength of 10 men, essentially. Anyone that doesn't know Gendy, I mean, to me, it's like it's impressive that your work ethic is extraordinary, and you will stay up late into the night, and you'll get up early in the morning, and much of that is family because you want to spend time with your family, understandably. But a lot of that is drawing and working. And I asked you how or why you were doing that, not in an admiring way, not wondering why the fuck you would do that, but it's saying like, wow. And you told me what?
I don't know. What did I tell you?
You told me that you know you didn't want to mess up this opportunity. This was
Yeah.
this was your opportunity. It doesn't come very often. If it comes your way, you're really gonna, utilize the time, and you're gonna not gonna do it in a half-assed way. It was that important to you that you actually put that much time into it.
Yeah. It was about because back in the day, especially Dexter, nobody my age, it was 26, had their own show. That was ridiculous, right?
Right,
And so this was my first shot, and I never wanted to look back on it and go, oh, I wish I put more time and effort
right,
into this or that.
right,
I couldn't live with that. So I had to look back at it, and if somebody says, "Well, why didn't you do this better?" Impossible. Just not an ounce, not a minute to spare on everything that was done on that show.
right,
Humanly possible for the most part. At the talent level that I was at back then.
right.
I was figuring it out. It was my first series. I knew nothing. And so anyways, um And then yeah, and then that's the big philosophy, no regrets.
Right.
Right? Never look back and oh, I wish I could have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've always admired that. I thought that was amazing. And the best thing is working for you as long as I have is like you've never requested that amount of energy from me. Or you understand that my amount of energy is sort of like that, but my hours are not the same. Which I really appreciate because I need more sleep than you, I think.
Yeah. You could put a little more time in, I think. You'd find,
No, probably not. No, I don't think so.
you
All right, maybe a little bit.
know.
I'll draw tonight.
If I could draw as easy and as good as you or or Kelman or Paul, I would be producing twice as much. Just because like everything's coming out. You're like, wow, look at that. That's great. Look at this. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that necessarily. I don't know. I can't speak for Craig, obviously, or Paul, but it doesn't feel like that sometimes. Sometimes it's like, nails on a chalkboard.
Right. I guess I never see that or feel it. So yeah.
Right.
But yeah, regret. And then I am a hard worker. I mean, it's just, and then I love it. And I'm very lucky that I'm doing my own stuff. So when
Yeah.
I'm drawing Primal, it's for me.
Yeah.
It's the show I want to see. And so I'm kind
Right.
of me. Uh, and so it's super fun, you know,
Right. 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 Let me ask you a couple quick questions. Favorite character? Who's your favorite character?
that I've created.
No,
Oh, just in everything in comics,
comics.
in comics.
Comics. Yeah.
God, you're so pushy. I mean, I'm gonna say Daredevil because just he's the most interesting.
Okay. Who's your favorite character that you created?
Um, I mean, I think I'm most proud of Dexter because it got launched everything
Right.
and it's still surviving 30 plus years later. But what we've done in Primal is what I'm most impressed with that we've done or proud of.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Even more than a movie that you worked on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there an artist that you have come to appreciate that you used to hate when you were a kid that you've come to love? Jack was one of those.
I mean, I've grown to love a lot of art that I didn't even realize and see the amazing see what's amazing, what's his name? A lot of the old guys like Gene Colan,
Yeah.
I never knew. Neil Adams came really late too, just for
Okay.
Steranko a little bit. I mean, once I saw Harvey Kurtzman, but that was less of a judgy, but more of a just a discovery.
Uh,
I never knew Mad Magazine was so good. I never read it as a kid. I was superheroes, right?
I didn't either. Yeah.
Superheroes and Hanna-Barbera.
Right.
Um, but that when I really saw that, like even Don Martin, I was not a fan of, you know. And
Really?
then yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
then when I started to look at it again, I was like, oh my God, what am I like? There's so much incredible work and everything that I like is in here.
Right.
And I've missed it completely.
Right. 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 Right.
Even just finding Harvey Kurtzman's war comics, the way he drew those, like Jesus.
Those are pretty fucking amazing. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, one thing I want to say, take
Sorry,
care.
my wife's leaving for dinner. Go ahead.
Well, lovely dawn. One thing I want to make clear, I think I've said this to you before because I always try and make clear, like, I think you're terrific. You're a fantastic cartoonist. You're really, really, I mean, I mean, not everybody can draw like Craig Kelman. But that's, I mean, some of us really, try. I mean, I'm still trying to catch up to Riccardi,
Yeah.
and there's some things that you do. I'm like, I couldn't have fucking done that. I mean, I don't know where that comes from. So, but it is extraordinary, and because a lot of it is like it's not supposed to be pretty. It's just supposed to be visceral. And you get that, you hit that on the head every time. I think you're a really fantastic cartoonist. That's my
Thank
money.
you.
I'm a
Well,
good inker. I can ink you better than you can. That's all I'll say about that. And I think a lot of that is because you work your work ethic is extraordinary. You just keep trying and trying and trying, and that's pretty amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, sure. Well, I'll let you go have dinner with Dawn now.
Oh, I'm not. She left me.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll just keep
I made
talking.
some I made some shepherd's pie right before our meeting, so I'm gonna
Oh,
go have it.
very nice. Did you cook it yourself?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, don't yell at me. I didn't know. I would have gotten a Swanson's myself, but I know you're fancy. You're a well-known foodie.
It's a creative outlet too,
It is. What are you making for Thanksgiving?
Everything and the trimmings, just everything.
Okay. Can I come?
Yams, mashed potatoes, turkey, gravy,
Blintzes.
green bean curd. No, but I do make a cheesecake.
Oh, okay. We're making a cheesecake this year too.
Nice.
I'll send you photos.
All right, we'll
I'll
swap.
send you I'll send you a slice. Well, I hope you have a fantastic holiday.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you before then though.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to turn in some drawings. Are you turning those in?
I did earlier today.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, there's two files.
Two more.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll have more. We'll talk about it. But I'm gonna turn off the recording now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Gendy.
Thank
Bye,
you.
bye everyone.
It's fun.
Oh wait, fuck, I have to find the. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Stop it.
Here, stop.